Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Well, here we are again, boots on the grass, breeze whipping around my collar like an old friend who won't take no for an answer. I've driven up this winding lane in County Durham to a place most folk have never heard of, Muggleswick. What a splendid name. And I can already tell it's one of those spots that gets under your skin. 10 minutes and 19 seconds of footage might not seem long, but when you stand here among the trees, overlooking the burn and the ruins below, time feels like it's stretching its legs. This little church and its ghostly priory neighbour have been whispering stories for 800 years, and today I'm going to let them speak through me. There's a lychgate built here in this churchyard, taken from the teak of HMS Powerful, proper naval timber, salvaged and turned into a gateway for the living and the dead. The Ritson family put it up in memory of their own, and as I walked under it, I couldn't help thinking how we all try to leave a mark, like building a bridge out of the wreckage of yesterday, so tomorrow there's somewhere solid to stand. And we'll see that a little bit later. The church itself sits on a hill, like a modest sentinel, stone walls rebuilt around 1728, spruced up again in the 19th century, plain as porridge but with a quiet dignity that says, I've seen empires rise and fall and I'm still here. Step into the churchyard and you're surrounded by the sleepers, chest tombs, table tombs, headstones from 1686 right through to the 1860s, all Grade 2 listed and worn soft by the rain. There's the Mayor tomb carved by the sculptor John Graham Lough. And over yonder the war memorial standing straight as a guardsman, remembering lads who never came home. But the one who always pulls me up short is the grave of a certain moss trooper from the border Reaver days. You walk among these stones and you realise life's a short walk between two eternities. Some of us leave behind a name on a slab, others nothing but the echo of choices we made when the world was watching. And when we go inside, what a transformation. The Ritson family, coal money from Calf Hall, donated the east window, the organ, the altar rails, the choir stalls, the pulpit, even the lectern, all between 1913 and 1917. It's just like a family saying, we've done well, so let the rest of you have a bit of beauty too. And on the wall there are wooden plaques for two grandsons, George Ward Gunn, who earned the Victoria Cross, and Philip McLean Gunn, the Military Cross. Brothers who stared death in the face and chose courage over comfort. There's also a small Latin plaque for John Carr, born right here in 1712, who went on to run a grammar school and become Mayor of Hertford. Proof that a lad from a moorland village can still leave his footprint on the wider world. I stood there and wondered how many of us would plant seeds knowing we might never see the harvest. That's the quiet theology of this place. Faith isn't about certainty, it's about carrying on when the road disappears into the mist. Now, I've been hunting for something specific, and the modern champing setup doesn't make it easy. There's a little kitchen at the back, kettle, fridge and what have you, plus an indoor loo and some decking for overnight guests. All very practical, and I'm all for it. The church needs to pay its way in these lean times. But tucked into the floor at the west end of the nave, almost under the camp beds if you're not looking sharp, lies the flat stone slab of Roland Harrison. Here lieth Roland Harrison of Muggleswick, who departed this life September 24th, Anno Domini 1712. Simple as that. They say he was originally buried outside the churchyard walls because he was a dissenter, excommunicated for his Baptist ways. But someone somewhere decided the stone belonged inside after all, and that brings us to the Muggleswick Plot of 1663. Picture it. Charles II back on the throne, the Act of Uniformity clamping down on anyone who wouldn't toe the Anglican line. In the Derwent Valley, a handful of farmers, former soldiers and preachers, Roland Harrison among them, started meeting in secret at Muggleswick Park. They were Baptists and Presbyterians. They'd tasted freedom under Cromwell and weren't about to swallow the old order again. The plan, such as it was, involved rising up, seizing Durham, and even talk of toppling bishops and burning prayer books. An informer called John Elrington spilled the beans, and the whole thing fizzled like a damp squib. 9 arrests, a lot of running, and the authorities breathing down every neck. Yet here's the thing. When the world demands you bend the knee, some souls choose the harder path. Harrison, the moss trooper, lived and died holding fast to what he believed, even when it cost him friends, reputation, and a proper burial spot. Standing here, I feel the weight of the choice, like a man staring into the abyss and deciding the view is well worth the vertigo. And then I took a short walk down the hill to reach the priory ruins. They're not really a priory. They're the remains of a monastic grange built in the 1250s by Prior Hugh of Darlington for Durham Cathedral. Hall, chapel, dairy, deer park, the whole shebang supplying food and timber to the monks up the road. Grade 1 listed now, secluded monument with those massive sandstone blocks, still standing proud, the eastern gable soaring 15.5 metres, buttresses like shoulders against the sky, lancet windows, a blocked 15th century opening where a fireplace flue was later shoved in. The western block's undercroft hints at vaulted ceilings long gone. You look at these stones and you see the patient labour of men who believed their daily grind was part of something eternal. Blood, sweat and tears, poured into walls that have outlasted kings and kingdoms. And the name itself, Muggleswick, straight out of Old English, probably Muckle's farm or the dairy settlement of Muckle's folk. First written down in the Bolden Book of 1183, a personal name plus that old suffix wick, meaning a working farm on the edge of things. Roots that run deeper than we can see, like the taproot of an ancient oak that keeps the whole tree steady through every storm. So here we are, and I'm left with the same feeling I always get in places like this. We're all just passing through, trying to make sense of the hand we're dealt. Whether it's a medieval monk tilling the fields, a 17th century dissenter refusing to bend, or a modern visitor sleeping on a camp bed in a church that's seen it all, the question's the same. How do we live so that when our own stone is laid, someone somewhere still feels the echo? All Saints and its ruined grange don't preach answers. They simply stand here, quiet and stubborn, reminding us that the past isn't dead. It's just waiting for the next pair of boots to walk through it. If you ever find yourself in these parts, come and stand where I stood. Bring your own questions. The moorland and the stones will meet you halfway. So thanks for watching. If this corner of County Durham has stirred anything in you, drop a comment below. Maybe tell me which story hit home. Until next time, keep wandering, keep wondering, and look after the places that look after the stories. And do come back soon. You never know what you'll find. Bye for now.